team here at Allsmiles Therapy Center. So we've got psychoeducation modules that we've been talking to you about, and this basic video is going to cover module number 3. Now module number 3 sort of focuses on the self, who we are as people, and things like that, and our relationships to other people in the world as well. So one of the topics that we will be covering on our offering on our psychoeducation modules is the fascinating subject of personality. Personality can be defined as a characteristic way of thinking, feeling, and behaving. Our personalities are made up of our moods, our attitudes, our opinions, and it affects basically who we interact with and how we interact with, them and our environment in the world as well. Personality traits can be inherent or acquired from our environment. We could learn. Or, some people say that, okay, she behaves like her mom or she behaves like her dad. Those could even be passed down from genetics. So people are basically distinguished by these individual characteristics that sort of make up who we are and then eventually end up determining our pattern of behavior and how we interact with the rest of the world. In recent pop culture, of course, we've heard several words in relation to personality, such as narcissist, psychopath, empath, sort of just being thrown around in social media. But it's important to remember that not everyone displaying strong boundaries is a narcissist, for example, and not that ex of yours that you keep calling a psychopath might not be a psychopath if you look at the scientific definition of a psychopath. So basically this module focuses on educating individuals about the differences between personalities and personality traits and how these personality traits sort of make up who we are as a person. We also aim to sort of tackle the misinformation being spread in social media and pop culture, whereby everyone's like, my boyfriend was such a narcissist. Was he really a narcissist though? Or did he just display narcissistic traits? There's a difference between narcissistic personality disorder and a person with narcissistic traits. So yeah, in this module, we sort of help you understand that a little bit more as well, so that we stop using these words where they're not supposed to be used as well. It's always good to know, what traits sort of make us up as persons and make up the people that, we also love as well, so that we know how to deal with them, we know how that they deal with the world and all as well. It's really good information to have. So that's the first topic that we're covering in Module 3. I would like to pass it on to Teresa to take us through topic number 2.
Yeah, thank you so much, Krishi. And as I go to the topic number 2, you mentioned something. We keep on labeling someone, he's a narcissist, she was a narcissist. And absolutely, we have no idea about what narcissism means. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as we also be talking about personality disorders, we keep on saying in psychology, no one is 100% normal. In a nutshell, it means there is a threshold for each and every person of some sort of abnormality, but the difference between you and psychotic people is you've not met the dream threshold of being insane. Yeah. So get also to know about your, on the flip, who you are. So we tackle those ones as personality disorders. Now you've told me to tackle topic number 2. It's about developmental stages. Here we are looking at since childhood all the way to adulthood. We keep on saying people develop right from when they are conceived. That's when a baby starts developing, and they start even connecting with the parents and all that. So in this, we'll be looking at the first infant to 18 months. Here is where there is hope. Hope is instilled to kids. And now from 0 to 18 months is all about the sense of security. Who is my parent? Who is my caregiver? That's why you find in most cases, kids might cry when you want to hold them because they do not know you. So to them, they associate you with a threat because you're someone who is new to them. So we also then, after 0 to 18 months, we have 18 to 3 years. Here is where we talk about instilling will. Here it's all about now these kids, they've outgrown now from, just creating or building that trust. Now they are into, are you even trustworthy? because anyone can build trust with you, but are you even trustworthy? So it's all about the will, and here comes how you are able to teach them, how you are able to make them navigate all through, because it's where they keep on developing each and every stage. They say making their first step, they're now eating, the food that grown-ups are also sharing. They're learning how to talk and all that. So how are you in their journey? Are you there to assist them? Are you walking the journey with them? We'll also be looking at, when we talk about instilling purpose, here we are looking at 3 to 5 years. In most cases, people talk about 0 to 5 years. It's the most risky area for a kid. Now again, for us, we are narrowing it down. 3 to 5 years, it's even more essential, because here is where they also learn about love. If love is missed at this point, it should always be misplaced. Because if they do not get love from their first caregiver, they will go out there to source for this love. Love from strangers, love from everyone out there, and most of the time even kids get to be taken advantage of. So as a caregiver, you also need to know and to learn these different stages. We also have another one, 5 to 13 years. This is where, of course, not preteens, because for preteens we talk from 8 to 13 years, but 5 to 13 years, now they are no longer not kids per se, but again, they are not yet teenagers, so they are not yet to their puberty life. Now, this one comes because it's where it's all about finding themselves, where they are. It's about themselves. They get to rediscover, I'm like mom. This is what my mom does. I'm like dad. This is what the dad does, So again, when you're out there and they're looking upon you, it's up to you to behave accordingly. Because if you're the mom who keeps on making noise, the dad who is very violent in the house, they're absolutely going to copy that. Because this is a very crucial stage where they learn. Theirs is to acquire whatever is thrown at them.
And they learn by watching.
By watching and listening. When you are using abusive words,
yes,
don't be surprised when tomorrow
when they repeat it.
Exactly, because this is the stage that they get to learn. And we keep on saying, remember here we are talking about kids. You can relearn when you are grown up, but by the time you are coming to relearn this, you'll have come for therapy because of childhood trauma. So this is the time also to save them from that. Then again, we go to another one where now we talk about the full identity. Here we are looking at 13 years to 21 years. They want now, they have acquired knowledge from you, they've learned who they are, they've learned a lot of things from you. Now they want to be able to know themselves. Who are they without even the parents, So I'm a girl, and as a girl, this is how I develop into adolescence. I'm a boy, I'll break my voice. This is now who I am. In this stage is where most parents will always have issues with their kids, because now they are also trying to find their identity. And where you are, you might think that now they think we've come of age, the adolescence issues, because they want to get to know who exactly they are. As a caregiver, we call upon you. This is the time you should walk the journey with them. Let them know it's normal how they feel. They are navigating through adolescence into adulthood, and anytime they feel like they are overwhelmed with emotions, they should know they have both emotional and physical changes in their bodies and in everything about them. Support them. Don't be one person who will be busy, rebuking and telling them, now that you've grown, now that you've broken your voice, you think you're another daddy in the house. What you're doing, you are denying them a chance to navigate through that stage. Now again we are looking at intimacy stage, that is 21 to 39. This is when they get, to be involved in love affairs, love institutions. And when I talk about affairs, I do not mean cheating. No. I'm talking about now getting to another level, relationships. Now this is the time to build relationships, and it's not only love in terms of being intimacy, love per se. It's also to build, to be people's person, to be able to work together with your colleagues, your parents, your family, everyone, your community. So this is where again, if the previous stages have talked about, they were not well handled, they were not helped to navigate through. they are going to have a problem. Because they are the people who will always have self-esteem issues. They won't be in a position to express themselves, before people. They'll always feel they were denied something. And this is the stage where we have most people coming because they are unable to deal with their childhood traumas. So 21 to 39, it's a very, very effective stage. Here, we are talking of a grown person, a grown-up, someone who is already ready to start a family and starting a family, but now they have other things that are holding them back. Hence, if each and every stage is well navigated, again, we have the best parents out there, the best staff out there, employees, employer. They'll become very innovative because rather than concentrating on what was amiss when they were growing up, they'll be concentrating and exploring more about what can they bring on the table. Now we have the second last stage of 40 to 60 years. This is another very different stage. Most of the time, this is the midlife stage. Now, this is the stage that can have confusion if, again, you've not dealt well also. So you see, this thing, they keep on, they are there riding on each other because if you've well invested, you are okay, you are very innovative, trust me, you're going to enjoy this stage of life because it's where even you are nearing retirement. Now kids, they want to walk away from the house, you are left there. How do you navigate through? Again, if you ever miss that stage, we have scenarios where this is when people will start having bent-ends. You become a sponsor because you feel you want to look for an identity, who you are. Remember, we talked about identity back at from 13 to 21 years. So if you never got your identity, if you are never helped to navigate through, you will go back from 40 to 60. That's why we will find, someone who has never put on a short and some shades and stand. A man who was a CEO of an organization, now they've gone back. And lately they are busy with quote unquote, they call Ben 10s, and you keep on wondering why, because this is the time now they want to find themselves. Now we have the last stage, we call it stage of wisdom. It's 60 and above. Now this is a stage you've now gone through every stage, and if successively you've been helped to navigate, you've also helped yourself navigate. Here is a stage where you just live to enjoy everything because that life will give you. However, if there is a miss along the way, it's a stage of despair where now you start regretting and wishing if you had done things differently.
Thank you so much, Teresa, for introducing that topic very, very well. Next, I'd like to invite Naomi to tell us a little bit more about parenting styles.
And thank you very much, Krishi. So, just to get into it, parenting, when it comes to parenting styles, parenting is one of those things that everybody should have an interest, because in one way or another, we all find ourselves on the path of parenting, whether as biological parents or parents through primary caregiving or parenting through blended families, or even parenting because you've adopted children. So whichever kind of a parent you are, here at Allsmiles we have something important to share with you. Now, when it comes to the different styles of parenting, there are 4 main types of parenting styles. The first one is authoritative parenting. The second one is authoritarian parenting. The third one is neglectful parenting. And the fourth one is permissive parenting. Now, it doesn't matter which one of these you find yourselves in, but the most important thing to note about the 4 different styles of parenting is that they all talk about how a parent is able to guide their child and how a parent is able to influence their child. So out of these 4 parenting styles, it doesn't matter which one you have been using to parent your children. There are some that are not so good and some that are more child-friendly. What matters is that you consciously parent, meaning you understand the facts about each style of parenting so that you consciously make a decision as to the kind of parent you want to be. So the second reason as to why I would recommend every parent to consider taking this module is because depending on the way a child is parented, this can determine whether or not they are able to manage their own relationships in school and even as they join the adult world. Your parenting style can help manage or determine the extent to which your children are exposed to divorce, separation, and other difficult relationships. Your parenting style can determine whether your children get married at the right time or whether they end up in isolation. And your parenting style can also determine whether your children are able to make friends, whether they get expelled from school. And the most important thing is that your parenting style can also determine the level to which your child is exposed to things like suicide and lying. So this makes the parenting module something that is actually not only an investment for you and your family, but for the society at large, because if you can positively influence your child at home, then your child is able to positively influence others in school. And right there we have a very positive trickle-down effect. So I mentioned earlier that it is important for every parent to parent consciously. And when I say parent to parent consciously, I mean that we parent with understanding and we parent without fear of making any parental mistakes. So during our therapy sessions, the other highlight is that we will go through a number of parenting myths. If I can share one, there are so many of them. You've got to attend the class so that you can see and hear for yourself. But one of the parenting myths is, are leaders made or are they born? So you attend our parenting class and then you're able to have your own answer to this question. And then the other, if I could mention another area of interest, it would be, parenting for future parents, the people who are in the prenatal stage of parenting. If you're considering a C-section birth or a natural process birth, you might be interested in knowing if you've had a traumatic birth, or the birthing of your child was traumatic, how does it affect or impact your child in the early years of their life? And the early years of their life is very important because it determines who they become. So I'm calling upon all viewers, anybody who has access to this channel, to register today and join our module classes, because they will equip you and empower you to be the best parent, the best grandparent, the best godparent, the best caregiver that you can be at such a time as this.
Thank you so much, Naomi. It's important that you also mention the godparents and the grandparents as well, because you don't have to have given birth or actually had children to be a parent. You know? This is important information, even for you aunties and uncles out there who kind of want to, help your nieces and nephews or something like that. It's also important to know how we and our personalities are going to affect these babies as we grow up, as they're growing up and all as well. There is, of course, the impact that they will leave on the world, but there is also the impact that we have to look at that we will leave on them as well. So definitely join us for this module, and you'll get to know more about, how we can do that and how we can make healthier, better human beings that are actually out there, to make the world a better place.
Sure.
Yeah, so for topic number 4, I would like to introduce my colleague here, Silas, who will take you through what he's covering in topic number 4.
Covering a topic on premarital and marriage issues. And thank you, Krishi. And premarital preparation is basically preparation for people before they get married. And it is the foundation for building families. And all the issues that we've been talking relate to family, things to be parenting, and premarital preparation. The reason why we are taking it seriously as Allsmiles is because that is the root cause of all the issues that we find in the family. When you talk about like drug abuse, crime, and so many other things, they stem from the family. And so when people are prepared, when they are beginning, the family, some of these things are, they are nipped in the bud before they begin. And so basically what we'll be addressing in premarital classes will be dealing with beliefs. When couples come for premarital counseling, that is before they get into marriage, they get to understand the belief of the partner. What does the partner believe in? What are the values? Because when again the values differ, it becomes a problem. And then also they get to understand one another, the personalities, what are the limits. And when people know the limits of one another, they're able to deal with one another well. Because when premarital issues are not handled well, they get back to the children, and they not only affect them mentally, but also in more aspects of their lives, in school, in the way they socialize with others. And so premarital therapy is so crucial in a family, because it's like the stem of all the things that are found in the family. And so we get also to deal with things with, I talked about partner knowledge, understanding your partner well. And so we try to help the couples understand, all the foundations of the partners and all that, and all the belief system. Because when people get to marriage, these things start emerging. And so if they are not dealt with at the premarital stage, it becomes a serious issue. And so another thing that becomes a problem in marriages, because we are trying to help the couples to deal with the issues before they get into marriage. It is the issue of responsibilities, roles and responsibilities. And depending on where somebody comes from, they have a different understanding of roles and responsibilities. So we help people who are just about to get into a marriage to understand their roles in the family. Because when people get into marriage without understanding, it becomes a source of conflict, and this is what we are trying to deal with. There are issues to do with sexuality, and it's a major issue.
Yeah.
And so people get into marriage without the understanding of sexuality, and you find that they have different views. Like the husband has a different view of sex and sexuality, the wife, and so it becomes a clash when they are not prepared well. So at Allsmiles, we are committed to help build the foundations of families through providing resources to sustain you even before you get there. Yeah, because ours is to help you before you get there, and even when you are there, we also help to support you, because as people move through the life cycle, challenges keep popping up, and so therapy becomes a constant thing in families. When people get children, there are a few things that change, maybe biologically, socially, mentally, and so we help prepare people before they get married, and also in marriage. Also, communication is a serious issue. Where there's no communication, even solving problems become an issue. So we also support and do therapy to help people have sound communication techniques and skills, so that they may be able to sort and deal with their issues. We have the issues to do with parenting. We mentioned a few things about parenting, and it's a big thing in premarital therapy. We also have things to do with finances, and it's also a major cause of conflict in the marriage. Yeah, how do we deal with finances? How do we generate finances? Because again, when people get into marriage and they have different views on how they need to generate money and even manage and invest and maybe acquire property, it becomes sources of conflict. So at Allsmiles, we support families through helping them have sound basics on finances, so that the families may be firm. And there are several concepts when you are dealing with families, things that by this I mean areas of concern in families, in marriages. What are these areas of concern? What are these things that keep arising in families that we at Allsmiles try to focus on? We try to focus, I mentioned the life cycle, all the challenges that pop up in the life cycle. And when I'm talking about the life cycle, we begin the life cycle. There are those that begin at birth, but there are also some psychologists who begin it at coupling. Coupling is when couples meet and they are not yet married. At that stage, there are those issues at play. issues to do with the language, the culture, the level of education, and then we go to the stage of now people have gotten married, they have infants. There are challenges that come when now people have infants. Things with fatigue when you're supposed to work, and at the same time you have to feed the baby overnight. These are challenges that also bring conflict in the family, and we provide support for this. And I'm again emphasizing on the need for these classes because they help you at every stage. And we also get to the level whereby now the couple, they have graduated and they have adolescents. Adolescence is a challenge. And so sometimes the couple get confused on how do we do now with these teenagers. And sometimes people have gotten into depression because of now the issue of teenagers. And I will not go deep to that because you also talked about parenting styles. And maybe when in the classes we'll get deeper into these parenting styles. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? Which is the best, the best parenting style? So we have also where now the children are grown, they are in campus, and maybe they have gotten married, they are independent, and now the couple is left alone, which we call the empty nest. There are challenges now also in the empty nest, and how do the couple sustain now their that union, that warmth? How do they keep going after now the children who maybe are providing some support and some some bonding, they are not there? How do the couple now continue and they are alone? And so these are all things that we deal in, including things to do with old age when the sicknesses start bringing issues in the family, and people are not able to do the things that we're able to do. There are financial implications. The old age, people are not actively involved now in getting money in business, and so it also becomes now a challenge. And so the aim of all this is to help people to make them aware of the journey that they are in, that they are well prepared. How is one prepared for retirement? How is one prepared now for that time that you will not have the strength to do the things that you are doing today? And so these classes become so essential in building and reinforcing a family. So there are also issues with dysfunctionalities in family brought up by so many things, like in-laws, like maybe the environment. Sometimes even the political system can get into a family, and it brings a lot of issues. So we deal with all these things and help families by helping them, put up boundaries. Because when there are no boundaries in a family, it means now everything is accessible now. Anything can enter and leave at wish, and so it becomes an area of concern. And so we help, we guide families in the area of boundaries, creating good boundaries, communication, and also reinforcing communication in the family, reinforcing authority in the family. There are sometimes when the center of authority becomes a challenge. We find that it is not even now like the conventional way is maybe the father, where there is now the father, mother, and maybe the children in a family. We find that the father is the head of the family and the source of authority. There are sometimes we find that the authority is on the mother. And in some cultures it brings problems. In some other areas we find that the parents have no authority. There are some children who are and they are the ones now who call the shots. Or whatever they want done is what happens, and so they determine the budget and the entire need of the family. And so we help restore authority in the family, and because now it's a source of conflict when authorities are challenged. And also we have issues of loss and grief in the family, which also affect members of our family negatively. They get into trauma, and sometimes people get into conflicts and they don't know the source of this conflict. And so as psychologists or therapists, we are able to identify the source of some of the issues and and we are able to trace them from some traumas, from some losses that people suffered. And when we are talking about losses, we are talking about loss of business, loss of employment. Sometimes people get incapacitated health-wise, and sometimes they lose parts of their body. How do people continue? You used to walk with 2 legs, now you have one leg because one was, something happened and you only have one. How do you cope with this loss? And talking about business empire going down, how do people move now from point A to B when these things happen? How does the family remain as one unit after all these things have happened? And so we address all these concerns, and our classes are quite comprehensive. We have modules and programs that are handle family issues from A to Z. So we also deal with issues of, in the family also we find things to do with infidelity, which is a major issue. And we help families identify the causes and how to deal with these things before they begin. Because when infidelity comes in a family, it brings mistrust, it brings a lot of instability, mental instability, emotional instability, and it will not only affect the couple, but also the children. And so at Allsmiles, we are concerned about the family, and we are committed to raising strong families, because when we have a strong family, even mentally, we have a population that is healthy mentally.
Definitely.
Over to you, Christian.
Thank you very much, Silas. It's interesting that you mentioned premarital counseling as well, because it's known scientific to actually help with divorce rates and things like that. And divorce is something we're dealing with in our society,
Sure.
left, right, and center. Divorce rates today are higher than they've ever been in the world before. So premarital counseling sort of helps with that. Why do you want to let it get to that stage of divorce when you can handle it from before? Have you guys ever noticed the couples that come into couples therapy, they only come in after the problem has gotten really big?
Yeah, you're right.
But why wait for them? Why wait until the problem has gotten big and out of control and out of hand? With the module on premarital counseling, you can nip those in the bud, before you can spot them, identify them, see them, and handle them in that as well. Plus, I'm sure you'll be teaching them good important skills like conflict management, expectation management, these things, goals, financial management, as he said as well. These are important things, when you're looking to start your life with someone. So yes, our psychoeducation classes will provide you more insight into these and several other topics. Our module 3 basically covers, as you've heard from the rest of us, it covers personalities, it covers who we are and our relationships and how we interact with the rest of the world, whether it's our children, our parents, or basically the immediate relationships around us, the familial relationships around us.
Sure.
There's family, there is romantic relationships, there's your relationship with yourself, which we cover in personality as well. And a lot of the times growing up, we don't know these things. We don't realize that these are personality traits or something like that we've picked up from the environment. We go by our lives basically just subconsciously and unconsciously sort of collecting these things. So our psychoeducation classes will sort of help to get you know yourself better, and for you to also get to know your relationships better as well. So definitely do come and give us a call one of these days, or pay us a visit, at our centers as well. And if you'd like to know more, you can contact us on our emails or pay us a visit.